name is Yvette Young and I play in the band Covet. For this episode of Sick Riffs, I am going to be teaching you my favorite section of our song Parachute. So there's two things you should know about playing this riff before we go further. First of all, this whole song is in an alternate tuning. The tuning that I'm using is FACGCE. Let's see what that sounds like. So the other thing you should know is for my amp settings, for whatever tone I'm using in this instance, I'm running through a chorus pedal, and I like my amp to be, in general, a super clean pedal platform. I like to set it so that it's clean, but if I dig in a bit, it's a bit dirty. Kind of like my sense of humor. Anyways, let's go ahead and see what that sounds like. So in a lot of my other videos, I like to talk about chunking as a way to learn a really long riff. This riff in particular isn't too complicated, but it is kind of long, and it repeats twice in the song itself. So I like to divide it up into 4 more digestible parts. I'm going to be referring to the parts as A, B, C, and D. A lot of people use letters to reference song structure, but I actually like to even zoom in a little more and like have structure even within the riffs of the songs themselves. So what I'm gonna do is, as usual, I'm gonna play everything really slow, and I'm gonna zoom in on any little details you should know about. Before we tackle section A, there's a little bit of a lead-in. So I'm gonna show you the lead-in, and then I'm gonna show you section A of the riff. So let's start with that little lead-in. You're gonna be plucking open B, and then you're doing a hammer-on the 2nd fret, open, and then 2nd to the 4th fret, and then open, the 3rd fret of the high E. So that's how you're gonna transition to the first part of the riff, which I like to call A, which sounds like this. So, all together, it sounds like. So the most notable thing about this part is that there's a parallel slide that goes from, you're basically plucking the lower E and the D string, and you're sliding from the 2nd to the 4th. And you may notice that also I'm choosing to, I'm hitting the same note, but I'm playing it in 2 different positions. One is an open string, and one is with my pinky. And I do that just because I like the variation of timbre. So one rings out more, and one's like kind of, the decay is a little bit shorter. It's a bit nitpicky, but I'm thinking about little details like this. So let's talk about section B. I'm going to play it really slowly a few times, and then we'll dive into the details. Let's break that down. So you're basically starting with open, low E, and open G, and then you're hammering on that 2nd fret on the G string, and you're sliding to the 5th fret. And then you immediately go on the B string and slide from 7 to the 9th fret. And then open high E. And then there's that harmonic. So a quick note about the harmonic. You may notice that I let it ring and I like kind of lift my hand off. That's not like a swag thing. I'm not like trying to look cool. For me, it's like utilitarian. It helps me have the time to go back down here. And also I like lifting it because harmonics tend to ring out better if you just like lift your hand and not mute or deaden the note by just lingering there. And I like having that harmonic fill out the sound for like the next section. So I like having it kind of hang over. It's like a little chimey pad. So the other note about this is when after the harmonic, there's that parallel slide again that we did in section A, but so I don't pick it again the second time, I slide to it, so if that makes sense. And then that's a bunch of open strings right there. So before we continue to section C of the riff, let's see if we can tie together the lead-in, A and B. I do this a lot when I practice because I find it really helpful in making me play more fluidly, because I'm not only practicing each part of the riff, but I'm also practicing the little micro transitions. So let's do it really slowly. Accidentally played the first part of section C just by habit. My bad. So for section C, this is pretty short and straightforward, so I'm just going to play it slowly a few times for you to see. No pun intended. Nothing really complicated there. You're just going to pluck that open E as the last note. Before we proceed, let's try to string everything together and put this section in context with all the others, everything that we've done to this point. So now I'm going to explain section D, and we're actually going to do a little transitional part in addition to it. And we're going to tack that on the end. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to play it slowly for you a few times. And then the transitional part is. So all together, it's. It's a little triplet, triplet, triplet. At this point, you've learned the entire riff. My only note here is that it repeats twice in the context of the song, and instead of doing the lead-in, when you go into section A for the second time, you're going to use that pull-off transition to triplet, triplet. So, triplet, triplet. So let me help you put that in context, and let me show you how it's played twice. So once you're at this point, there's actually a build-up section that goes into the next part of the song. This is optional, but if you want to learn it, I'm just going to leave this here for you. probably sonically blue-balled you by not going into the run, but I did that on purpose so I can show it to you in detail right now. So the run goes like this. It's on the 7th fret of the G string, and then you're going to do the same thing on the B string. A little pentatonic hammer on. But when you go on the B string, you're going to slide this note to this note. And then the trickiest part of this is actually getting that pinky hammer on to sound out. It just takes a lot of pinky strength, but it's doable. So in context, it sounds like. Oh yeah, it goes into a chord section. But you know, that's the next part and we don't have to worry about that. So that concludes my lesson. Have fun, and yeah, let's hear it in the context of the song.